Hi, survival games are one of the most popular genres existing today. It's exciting to feel like a hunter, foraging for sustenance, or to experience a sense of accomplishment by defeating terrifying monsters. So, I'm going to talk about 25 interesting open-world survival games. The first one is Myst Survival. It's a highly atmospheric action survival game with horror elements, immersing players in a dark post-apocalyptic world that has suffered from a mysterious virus outbreak. Unexplained mist occasionally descends, bringing zombie-like creatures with it. The game offers a wide range of activities, including searching for food and water, building shelters, farming, rescuing captives from bandits, exploring, crafting, and delving into mines where even scarier entities might lurk. Stranded Deep, a survival game set on deserted islands after a plane crash in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Here, players explore the beauty of the vast Pacific world, including its treacherous depths. You can search for treasures, build shelters, craft, all in a huge random world with dynamic weather and changing day-night cycles. Notably, the crafting mechanics are different from other games. You need to figure out how to craft items by placing their components on the ground and experimenting. ARK Survival Evolved. Survive in an open world of dinosaurs, where you and other players must land on a mystical island and build a new civilization. Fight, gather resources, grow food, and construct bases. Dinosaurs in the game are not just strong opponents, they can also become allies. There are about 100 different species, and players can utilize their tamed dinosaurs' abilities, such as flying or rapid underwater movement. Dinosaurs can also carry items, perform offensive and defensive commands. Tamed dinosaurs can evolve, consume food, and bring hunting loot to the player's settlement. DayZ, one of the best survival games that thrusts players into a zombie virus-ravaged fictional country, where you must battle zombies and other players, trying to negotiate another day of life. The game's unpredictability and the wealth of diverse situations in its expansive open world have contributed to its popularity. While the game initially had technical issues, improvements have been made, and the introduction of mods has made it more engaging. It's now a realistic, atmospheric, albeit brutal game. Green Hell. If you're a fan of tropical nature with lush jungles, palm trees, waterfalls, and exotic birds, then you haven't played Green Hell yet. It's a realistic survival simulator in an open world set in the Amazon jungle. In solo or online cooperative play, you'll have to find edible plants, hunt, build shelters, and craft primitive tools. Initially, the game might seem simple: make a fire, eat some fruits, and survive. But it's much more complex, revealing survival's challenges unexpectedly. The developers have incorporated real survival techniques and recreated the natural conditions of the Amazon jungle, complete with animals and plants, including leeches and parasites. So, every living creature and tiny nuisance will be trying to take you down. Subnautica game series. In this series, after a spaceship crash, the main character finds themselves on a massive planet, almost entirely covered by oceans. So, if you have a phobia of great depths and sea monsters, be prepared for some fear-inducing moments. To survive in standard modes, you'll need to manage hunger, thirst, health, and oxygen levels, collect resources, explore both underwater and terrestrial open worlds, build bases, craft various items and transport, and defend against predators. The open world, although not vast, is incredibly beautiful and captivating to explore. Conan Exiles. This is a survival simulator set in the Conan universe, where players begin from scratch and gradually craft tools, weapons, obtain fire and food, surviving amidst dangerous monsters and barbarians. You'll venture into dungeons, slaying numerous bosses and collecting artifacts, eventually becoming a formidable warrior. The game is intriguing and can keep you engaged for a long time. With a beautiful and diverse open world, interesting survival mechanics, and a wide range of adversaries, battles can be assisted with the summoning of mighty gods. The character creation system is equally interesting, allowing you to choose race, gender, religion, appearance, and physique. The Forest series, a first-person survival horror series where the main character, after a plane crash, ends up on a mysterious island. The survivor quickly realizes that this mystical island is far from a paradise. The locals have sinister intentions. To survive, similar to real life, the hero searches for food and water, battling cannibals and the environment, gradually establishing a routine and exploring dark caves. It's not recommended for the faint-hearted. In my opinion, it's one of the best survival games for cooperative play. With an open world, a compelling story, and enemies that can dodge and flee, the game offers an intriguing building and crafting mechanic. Miscreated, a post-apocalyptic MMO survival game with radiation and terrifying zombie mutants. Here, you'll need to find water, food, useful resources, and effective weaponry to survive amidst the chaos. Exploration is a major aspect of the game. The open world spans over 50 square kilometers, featuring many interesting locations. The level designers have done an impressive job populating the map with cities, villages, abandoned houses, hidden campgrounds, caves, warehouses, bunkers, and a plethora of abandoned vehicles. Apart from the ubiquitous monsters, other players pose a real threat, always eager to relieve you of your hard-earned belongings. The Long Dark. Have you ever thought about what you would do in the face of a global catastrophe? Imagine your house in the far north without electricity, with occasional wolf howls echoing and essential supplies dwindling. You'll have to leave your shelter and venture out in search of resources. All of this in the midst of winter, in the wilds. There are no bloodthirsty monsters in the game, but that doesn't make it any easier. Nature itself can be your undoing. Predators roam the forests, the cold is relentless, and your stomach is empty. The core aspects of the game are survival and exploring a vast open world, requiring you to strike a balance between searching for necessities and managing your own resources. Don't Starve, a survival game with a unique hand-drawn art style that complements the game's atmosphere. In this game, your chosen character finds themselves in a bizarre world full of bloodthirsty monsters. Initially, only one character is available, but you can unlock others over time, each with their own unique traits. The objective is to survive as many days as possible, which means battling hunger, darkness, aggressive monsters, and eventually dealing with extreme heat and cold if you make it to winter. The game doesn't provide explicit instructions. You need to figure things out on your own. If your character dies, you'll start all over again. The game's world is procedurally generated, so sometimes you'll be surrounded by plenty of food and resources, while other times they'll be scattered across the vast map, making survival considerably tougher. Rust, a relatively hardcore online survival game, not necessarily in terms of gameplay mechanics, but due to the game's objectives and player interactions. Your sole goal here is to survive and thrive by constantly clashing with other players. In essence, take from one and try not to give to another. Peaceful coexistence is possible only on specific servers. This game is both loved and hated for these mechanics. It's easier to play with friends because playing alone might lose its appeal after a couple of hours. To play Rust for hundreds of hours, you need nerves of steel or complete indifference. You can be killed for having a prettier stone in your hand, and afterward, you might be roasted and eaten. Want to experience a quality horror? Try Rust. You'll shiver in your shack, knowing someone is coming for you. If you venture out, you'll be killed, losing everything you tried to save. Trust no one and don't disclose your location. If you hear someone saying, "Friendly," run as fast as you can. Build where others don't, craft at night, and move silently. Overall, it's a true survival game with a vast open world, but it's not for everyone. Raft. Survive in the middle of the ocean by building a massive raft house from collected debris, either alone or with a friend. You'll drift on open waters, trying not to become a meal for the man-eating sharks that lurk nearby. Initially, your raft will be fragile, but as you gather more materials, often requiring dives to the ocean floor, it will become more substantial and secure. By finding blueprints and analyzing what you find, you can build planters, water collectors, and grills to have access to fresh water and cooked fish. Empyrion Galactic Survival, one of the best and most interesting space survival games, allowing players to land on unknown planets, gather resources, and explore distant cosmic expanses. It features engaging survival mechanics, a well-developed crafting system with a wide variety of items and weapons, a user-friendly building system, and most importantly, an open world encompassing multiple planets and extensive space. Each planet offers unique gameplay, with varying climates, landscapes, gravity, resources, flora, fauna, and hostile drones and structures. You'll need to adapt to each world's survival challenges. Moreover, each planet has its own unique resources required for crafting high-tech weapons and equipment. State of Decay 2, a sequel to a game about the survival of a group of random people in a rural area during a zombie apocalypse. In the game, you'll establish a base, populate it with survivors who can contribute with their skills and traits, and simultaneously restore order in the world, helping neighbors, completing simple yet sometimes thrilling tasks, exterminating enemies, and eradicating zombies. When your base becomes a dream home, you can move to a new map. Each new location is thoroughly designed and vastly different from the others. Different maps have various missions. There's no need to finish the game on a single map. You can gather resources and migrate as a community to another location. For variety, there's also a story mode, but in my opinion, the story isn't particularly engaging. Seven Days to Die, a survival game with an open world and RPG elements. Set in a post-apocalyptic world after a global war, a significant portion of the population has been wiped out, and others have been infected by an unknown virus. The infected die within 7 in-game days and then rise as zombies. As a result, every 7 days, players face a massive wave of mutant monsters, and they must prepare adequately for their arrival. The zombies in this game possess decent intelligence, so while setting up defenses, you need to consider all possible entry points. However, threats don't just come from zombies. The game world also features other players with whom you can either join forces or compete for dominance over limited resources. In addition to procedural world generation and a deep crafting system, the game boasts a well-developed building physics system. Unturned, a free zombie apocalypse survival game with an open world, available through Steam. It's akin to DayZ, but in a Minecraft-style visual. The game is well optimized and offers a fairly large open world. Players will need to explore military bases, gas stations, and houses, where they can find military vehicles and use them for defense or assault. There's a huge variety of weapons and clothing available in the game. You can create a clan, build your base, and team up with friends to fight against other clans or join forces with them for easier survival. For those who prefer PvE gameplay, Unturned offers PvE servers where you can focus on survival without the need to battle other players. Project Zomboid. Despite its isometric pixel art graphics that exude an old-school vibe, this game is one of the best open-world survival simulators, showing that eventually, every created character will die. The question is how many days they can last, battling zombie hordes, scavenging supplies, and fortifying their shelters. You can survive alone or in multiplayer mode with other players. Besides fighting zombies, your character needs food, water, sleep, rest, and social interaction. While you're building your home and collecting essential supplies, the difficulty will gradually increase. Zombie activity will rise, food will spoil, and electricity and water supply will cease. The Isle, a survival game set in a vast open world where each player takes on the role of a dinosaur. At the start, you choose to be a herbivore or a carnivore and begin playing as a small dinosaur, gradually growing and evolving into larger, more powerful creatures. The map is full of other players looking to kill you for food or self-defense. In this world, any player who was once in your party might eat you without a second thought if they're hungry. Trust is rare, and the game is for true survival enthusiasts. You'll die hundreds of times from thirst or hunger, develop for 4 hours only to be devoured in a second. It's not a game where you roam the map, killing every player. Things work differently here. For instance, if you see a herbivore at a watering hole, that means they're a newbie and you're lucky. Or there might be a whole herd nearby. Or perhaps you won't even spot them. Craftopia. It's an action RPG with sandbox and survival elements set in an open world, featuring a delightful anime-style art. The developers combined the best elements from various other games, including hunting animals, mining resources, cooking food, growing crops, building houses, and battling monsters in dungeons and the open world. Everything is accessible from the start, and each gameplay element complements and enhances others. In Craftopia, you can do everything manually or automate everything, making item creation and resource collection less monotonous and allowing you to focus on exploring the world. You can tame monsters, explore dungeons with them, use various machinery, from simple motorcycles to tanks and helicopters. Medieval Dynasty, an adventure RPG with survival elements and a first-person perspective where players are transported to a medieval open world. The protagonist starts as an ordinary character who must learn to be a hunter and a farmer, as well as build a settlement. The game is particularly engaging for PvE enthusiasts. You engage in construction, hunting, farming, trading, crafting, and skill development across various abilities. Interacting with NPCs is an essential part of the experience. In essence, your goal is to build your village from scratch and create your own dynasty. The game features 4 seasons and dynamic weather. Grounded, a cooperative survival game that tells the story of a group of kids who suddenly find themselves drastically reduced in size. In this state, they end up in their own backyard, where they must survive while fending off ants and spiders that are more than willing to make miniature humans their next meal. In this unusual circumstance, you gather resources, construct buildings, and defend against insects either alone or with friends. The game is quite interesting, visually appealing, and characterized by a unique style. For some, the game might even feel like a horror experience due to its scary moments. Icarus, a cooperative PvE survival game featuring missions, ultimate goals, hunting, building, exploration, battling the elements, and beautiful visuals. According to the story, players land on a planet to complete specific tasks within a limited time frame. The approach to achieving these tasks is up to the player, whether it involves going about your own business or building a base and preparing before systematically clearing territories. Additionally, the game offers 2 technology trees, and up to 8 players can play together. Valheim, a unique game that occupies just 1 GB of space on your disk but offers a sea of content and a massive open world. It features hundreds of different enemies, building mechanics, dungeons, and the ability to construct rafts for island hopping. The game boasts a great atmosphere, and its gameplay is filled with balanced elements that prevent resource collection from turning into monotonous grinding. However, I recommend playing it cooperatively, as playing solo can become quite boring. Space Engineers. In this game, you become a space engineer tasked with realizing the most ambitious projects both on planetary surfaces and in space. The gameplay isn't limited to crafting and construction. You can also pilot spaceships. At launch, the game offers several modes, including a challenging survival mode. Before its 2019 release, the game spent 6 years in Steam Early Access, during which it received a lot of exciting content. Players can land on planets, establish settlements, and create their own unique vehicles to move across the surface. That's all. Thank you for watching. The Image Game channel was with you. Have a good day.